I'm Vivian Johnson. I married Bob Johnson in 1949, and that's when I became a covenant. Now, I was first introduced to Mission Springs the year before, July 1948. He invited me to come down and spend the week at his mother's cabin. So I didn't know anything about Mission Springs. And so he told me it was a camp, summer camp, but the women were not allowed to wear slacks. So, but be prepared to dress up for Sundays. That's when we go to Cathedral Grove. Well, I found out, dressed all up in nice clothes, a hat, gloves, and high heels. And we trudged through gravel and dirt up to Cathedral Grove. But anyway, he told me it was, going to be nice during this summer, during July. I don't think we saw the sun one day. It was cloudy the whole time. So, and then he took me around different areas so that I kind of be familiar with some of the areas, Felton, Min Lomond, Boulder Creek, all those things. And it was fun. I enjoyed it, and I got to meet people. And from then on, just about every single year, July, we were at Mission Springs. And when the children came along, we went to Mission Springs, naturally, each one of them. So they remember Mission Springs all their lives. And eventually, my husband had two brothers, and they each had families. And the cabin was just too small for all of us to be there. So we happened to buy another one. My husband was visiting with someone from the Oakland church. His name was Olson, and I do not remember his first name. But he wanted to sell his cabin, he told Bob. And so he said, well, we're looking for a cabin. So let's go look at it and see what it looks like. So he came home and invited me to come with him to look at the cabin. And so we did, and it was really rough. He had been a demolition contractor in Oakland, and so he collected all this stuff from the buildings that he tore down. We had a huge picture window in one side of the cabin and in the other, and they were taken from gas stations. So they had these colored glass along the edges, and of course, eventually that all got changed. But it was interesting, and it was just subflooring. The only heat he had there was a coal stove, and that was pretty dirty. And so anyway, we decided the price he was asking was the right price for us, and we thought it was a good deal, so we took it on. And over the years, my husband worked on it and completed it, and little by little, and things got done, and the cabin actually became livable. We had Stan Johnson, who was a bricklayer from San Jose. He put in our big fireplace. And my husband had a big log. Well, actually, it was smoothed out so that it was flat. And he wanted that put up as a mantle. But Stan said no, he would not do that. That didn't look good. Mantles only collected junk. And so he would not put that mantle in. So he went about his own way. And I thought, well, I guess he's a stubborn old sweet. But anyway, we enjoyed the fireplace, and my husband could make a fire. He was used to that. That was the only heat in their cabin. And it really wasn't adequate, at least. It was fine in the summer. but we couldn't go down any other time of the year. And so then we eventually, after my husband died, I put in a gas stove in the fireplace, and that really kept it nice and warm. But the children enjoyed Mission Springs all their lives. They just thought it was ideal to go down there and meet kids from other churches. And at that time, when my children were young, there wasn't an Alpine. So everybody from San Diego on up came to Mission Springs. So they had an opportunity to meet a lot of different people. And because of that, one of my daughters married somebody from Southern California, and another got involved in other ways with other people. But it was a good experience for us to learn and to enjoy Mission Springs and the different. They began renting it out to other groups, and that was also interesting. And I thought that was great that they could do that. And I think that one of the fun things that I remember, and I'm sure many people do, was the parades that they used to have every 4th of July. And the summer that Paul Lindstedt was working for Farrell's Ice Cream, and he started the first ice cream social. In fact, it was free. Since he was manager of Farrell's, he could do that. And it was nice, and then he got transferred up north. But it was that was a great tradition that kept on. I don't know, maybe even today. But we enjoyed it, and the kids always enjoyed it. And we had some fine people that led the parade around. Rod Lanier, for one of them, and he was a great master, and would perform nicely for us all. And the dining hall, of course, was a big attraction. People loved to go get food and picnics, and so forth on Sundays. And a lot of times that we enjoyed the atmosphere there. And the year that they built the pool, that was really a bonus. Nobody had to go traipsing out to the beach. Everyone could, if they wanted to swim, the kids could go to the pool. And that was much cleaner for the moms, not to bring home half the beach. But that was enjoyable. And, I think the outdoor education program was a great benefit. My son served as the very first teacher of outdoor education. And that has gone on, and I think that has been a gift to the children. They learn about the Lord in their education, and it just comes so naturally how they can present God in all of nature. And the kids really enjoyed it. And it's nice to interact with. I've interacted with many of the young people in the restrooms or something, and they're all excited, about what they're doing and how much they're enjoying it. And that, and lately, all the building that's been going on, and the tabernacle put to good use. I can remember sitting in that tabernacle when it was so warm, and they had all the windows open, and you could see the bats flying back and forth behind the pulpit. And but yes, sometimes we'd kind of hold back and not want to get there too early so that we could sit outside instead of having to go inside where it was pretty stuffy. So the tabernacle we have today is really a boon, I'll tell you. It's lovely, really lovely, and the beautiful scenery that we have are looking at those windows. Of course, that put in after the earthquake. And the earthquake of 1989, which was pretty bad, when the Laniers lost their house right off the foundation. But insurance paid for them to rebuild it completely. And we lost a part of our chimney. And that's when Stan Johnson's son came and replaced the chimney. And we told him the story about his dad, and he had to laugh. He said, "Sounds just like him." So, yeah, there were just a lot of things that I remember. And I think that one of the really nice things now is having those pavers so that we can look back at all the people that came before us and the memories that go on with that. It's very, very nice. I really enjoyed that so much. I have only seen the pictures. I don't drive that far anymore. It's too far for me to go. So I rely on my memory and all the connections that we have because of it. Yeah. Yes. So that's about it.
Good.
Yes. Well, Marilyn Wallstrom, for one, she's a friend. Mary Lou and Gordon Benander, they became close friends. Bob knew of these people, but they became friends, after we were married. And, of course, both Marilyn and Mary Lou and Gordon ended up here, and that's always great. And there have been great connections. Yeah. And I really appreciated a lot of the speakers that we had at Mission Springs. I think it was, wasn't it Wesley and Nelson that was such a wonderful speaker, came back often, and enjoyed his ministry a great deal. And I think it was so beneficial to hear some of the professors from North Park explain many things in the Bible that really helped to educate us in the way of understanding the language of that time, comparing it to our language, so that we better understand the Scripture. That's very beneficial. And the senior conferences, that really is wonderful. I enjoyed those as I aged, and my husband did as well. Those were very, very beneficial. We had some interesting people speaking to us. And it was I remember a rabbi who, well, he wasn't quite a rabbi. He was on his way to New York to become a rabbi. But he stayed overnight in another state, and he forgot to bring his briefcase with all of his reading in it. And so he looked around the motel room and found a Bible, decided, well, I think I'll read what the New Testament has to say. And through that, he became a Christian. And that was amazing, absolutely. And there were others, I can't recall all of them, but I know we never wanted to miss a senior conference. It was very beneficial to us.
Yeah. Did your kids go to camp at Mission Springs?
They all went to camp at Mission Springs.
How was that? Was anything that stood out for them?
What's that?
Anything that stood out for them going
Yes,
to camp?
oh, definitely. And they made friends, through camp, which they wouldn't have otherwise. And they encouraged others to go with them. In many cases, they were neighbors that went with the children. Especially my daughters, they would take somebody with them, and they always enjoyed the camp very much. Well, we spent as much time as we could. During the summertime, my husband only could be there during his vacations. Weekends, we would go sometimes just for weekends. But the children and I would go down for a week or two at a time, and so that they could be there. They loved to be there until they were old enough to get jobs. Then, of course, that kept them, they were available on the weekends. But by that time, they could also go on their own. So we had many people at our cabin, staying at our cabin, children and friends, and we had a huge deck so that we could entertain a lot of people at one time. And that was fun. We enjoyed it. It's off a train court. It's off of Frontier Road on Train Court.
Okay.
Yes. The one that uses it the most now is my daughter and her family. The rest of the children are not as close. My one son in Colorado and one son in Washington, so they don't make it down here. But they all have, spent a great deal of time and worked on it. Mm-hmm. In fact, there used to be, my husband would take the boys and go down on a weekend and work on the cabin. And I think my husband often spent more time talking than he did working. He'd go down to the flat for something to pick something up, and it'd be an hour or so later before he came back. He just visited with people. And it's kind of like it is here.
Yeah.
You take off for something and you meet somebody and you stop and talk for a while. So it takes a while. Yeah, there have been several fires at Mission Springs. In fact, I was down at the cabin with my mother-in-law and my children, and the men's dormitory burned down. And that was she was quite excited about that. Oh dear, she just, it was during the night, and I heard the fire trucks, and she got all excited, and she decided to go out and see what's happened. She came back and she says, "Oh, Mission Springs is all on fire." I says, "It's on fire?" "Yes." She said, "We have to get out of here." So she grabbed her coffee pot and her frying pan, and she went out and put them in my car and plopped herself down, and then I was bringing the kids. And so I says, "Well, first of all, we're not going to go until I see what's going on. So I'll just simply go off, back the car out." There was no place to turn around. I had to back out. And got out there, and I said, "Now stay in the car with the children. I'm going to go see what's the matter." So I went over and walked over to the dormitory, and they said, "Everything's under control. They have it contained, and it's just letting it burn completely." And then, of course, that was the end of that. Yes. But then we went back into the cabin again, and no, she said no, she hadn't done that. No, she hadn't grabbed her coffee pot and frying pan. But I guess those were her worldly possessions. Well, I think of all the people that have gone on, and quite a few, our relationships through my husband. My husband's name is there, and I think I'm not sure if his mother's name is there, whether Bob's brother put it there, and then they had a brother that died when he was only 17, and I think they put his name there as well. And it's just a good thing, I think, for us to remember those things. Well, I certainly hope that Mission Springs continues to bring people there to learn about the Lord, and scholarships for those that can't afford it are very important to me. That it's, after all, our future is in the children, and if we can bring them there and educate them about how the Lord can change their lives and let that be an example to all those around. I think it's very important. I've seen some of the letters that have been written to Mission Springs after visiting by children, and it's really heartwarming. Yes, it's a good thing. And I hope that it continues to be a place people will want to go to, that they'll enjoy what's being held. And I think another thing is that the camps, the different camps that are held there for Joni Erickson, and her group. That's wonderful for those kids to have someplace to go that's healthful and spiritually uplifting for them, giving them a chance to enjoy what other kids can as well, yes.